Everybody loves talking about moving to Alpharetta, but not everybody moves to Alpharetta. So why is there such a discrepancy between how many people talk about moving to Alpharetta and how many people actually move to Alpharetta? Like, yeah, we get it. Alpharetta is a great place to live. It's one of the best suburbs of Atlanta, but there are lots of places in Metro Atlanta that are great places to live. So why does Alpharetta get so much attention? If you've been watching my videos or any one of the other YouTube real estate agents who talk about moving to Metro Atlanta, you may have noticed that Alpharetta is a very popular city to talk about. And there's like 100 suburbs around Atlanta. If you look at all of the cities that are within driving distance or like commute distance to Atlanta around the city of Atlanta, there's about 100. So like, why are we talking so much about Alpharetta? Why does it get so much attention? And that's really what I want to talk about. We'll talk about what makes it such a great place to live, but I also want to talk about why there's such a discrepancy between the amount of people that talk about it and the amount of time that's spent talking about Alpharetta, so that we can understand, like, why does everyone talk about Alpharetta? So what's up, y'all? My name is Victor with Atlanta Suburban Living. We put out videos every week about what it's like to live in Atlanta and the suburbs of Atlanta. And while Alpharetta is a suburb that is talked a lot about, it makes sense. It really is one of the best suburbs. I mean, you have the top rated public schools, you have Milton High School and Alpharetta High School. These are some of the best in the state. You also have a very strong job market. I know lots of people talk about like the tech industry and like the corporate employers there in Alpharetta. But why? Why does everybody talk about these things way more than other suburbs? There are other suburbs with excellent public schools. There are other suburbs that have a tech industry in the city. Why does Alpharetta get all of this attention? And that's what I want to talk about. We also have very low crime in Alpharetta, and really is a great place to live with low crime, but again, there are other suburbs with low crime. There's also like a lot of walkable areas in Alpharetta, downtown Alpharetta and the Avalon. And like, not only do a lot of people talk about those two, but we also like compare and put those two together all the time. When we talk about downtown Alpharetta, we also talk about the Avalon. Like, are these in the same place? Are they far apart from each other? Why are these two, the Avalon and downtown Alpharetta, always put in the same boat when we're talking about the walkability of Alpharetta? Or like parks and trails. Yes, absolutely, Alpharetta has excellent parks and trails, but like every suburb of Atlanta has parks and trails. Like literally every suburb. Why do we talk about Alpharetta so much? And so this is something that I really want to focus on in this video and explain to you, because I try to keep it super real with you guys. I appreciate you so much watching the channel, and I really want to give you the honest truth about why it is that we talk about Alpharetta so much. And then after we talk about that, we'll kind of figure out what is the exact truth. Like, I know we blow up like the parks and the trails and the walkability and like the safety and all that stuff of Alpharetta, but what is the actual truth about this city? Are we blowing it up? Are we like blowing it out of proportion when it comes to Alpharetta? What's the truth about Alpharetta? So we'll also talk about that. By no means am I saying that Alpharetta is not a good city to live in. It really is one of the best cities to live in. In fact, if you plan on moving to Alpharetta, or you just have any questions about what it's like to live here, feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. Not only do I make YouTube videos about these cities, I'm also a realtor in the Metro Atlanta area. Even if you just have a question about what it's like to live here, thank you so much to everybody who has reached out. I'm always happy to help. One of the biggest reasons why Alpharetta is disproportionately talked about more than some of the other suburbs of Metro Atlanta is because it is a visually appealing suburb. I know that may sound kind of silly, but when you take other suburbs of Atlanta into consideration, like Marietta and Alpharetta kind of border each other, but you have tons of power lines above ground in Marietta. You also have old older buildings, you have more trees and vegetation. And so Marietta, like many suburbs around Atlanta, is a bit more difficult to film. It's a bit more difficult to make it look appealing in the YouTube videos. Alpharetta, on the other hand, very often has the power lines buried below ground. They have newer buildings, they have less vegetation or more like landscaping around the city. You have more taxpayers paying the city to take care of the city. And so in general, the visual appeal of Alpharetta is much better than some of the other suburbs. And so it comes across in the videos as being more visually pleasing to the eye. And so this is one of the reasons why we make videos about Alpharetta so much. It's very easy to make good looking videos about Alpharetta. Now, does this mean that like the other suburbs of Atlanta are ugly? No, absolutely not. It's not like Marietta is an ugly city to live in. It's not all of the other metro Atlanta suburbs are ugly. It's not that by any means. They just have a different feel, a different vibe. It's a bit more country sometimes in some of these farther out suburbs, and that kind of country look doesn't come across as good in the videos. Or maybe it's, some older buildings like in Marietta, and so sometimes those older buildings don't come across as looking as good. Another big reason why so many people talk about Alpharetta is because the keyword, the buzzword Alpharetta gets more clicks, it gets more views. And so I talk about Alpharetta probably 6 or 7 times per year, whereas I talk about the other suburbs maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 times per year. And so it's not that Alpharetta is twice as nice as some of the other suburbs. It's just that the keyword or the buzzword Alpharetta, like with the YouTube algorithm, gets better views. It gets more clicks. And so it's not that this is twice as nice as the other suburbs. It's just a frankly easy way to get views because so many people are interested in Alpharetta, and rightfully so. It's not like, by no means are YouTube real estate agents trying to be manipulative. It's just that people are interested in Alpharetta, and so it's a great topic to make videos about. Another reason why we make so many videos about Alpharetta is because it has this kind of safe, family-friendly connotation, and these are like the most common demographic that is searching for suburbs to move to oftentimes happens to be families. And so this is one of the reasons why the YouTube algorithm tends to push Alpharetta a lot to viewers of YouTube, is because they're often families who are looking for safe, family-friendly suburbs. And so again, for that reason, the Alpharetta videos tend to do very well. Another thing about Alpharetta is that it's kind of like an aspirational place to live. And so if you think about other cities in the US that are like the place to be, maybe it's like where the wealthy people live, or maybe it's like where the super popular place to live. Like maybe some people talk about Manhattan. Like maybe if you're from New York, you're like, when I make it big, I'm gonna be in Manhattan. Or maybe in California, that's like, I don't know, like maybe Beverly Hills, or I don't know where like the place to be in California is, but imagine that city in your state. Very often Alpharetta is seen as like the place to be. When you make it big in Georgia, like I'm gonna move to Alpharetta. Or very often for people of other parts of the country, they think of Alpharetta as that aspirational place to be. Where I make it big, I wanna make it to Alpharetta. And so this is another reason why it gets so much buzz online and gets so many videos on YouTube. You also have a lot of word of mouth. People tend to talk about Alpharetta a lot. And so this is another reason why we make so many videos about Alpharetta. And then another one is like this comparison thing. Very often people think of Alpharetta as like the best suburb, so it often gets compared to other suburbs of Atlanta. So when you say something like, well, do I want to live in Alpharetta or do I want to live in Marietta? It's kind of similar, they're close to each other, which one is better? Or maybe I kind of want to live in Alpharetta, but maybe Roswell is the right one, and so we compare Roswell to Alpharetta. Or very often, another common comparison is Johns Creek to Alpharetta, and so people are always comparing these other suburbs to Alpharetta because Alpharetta is like the best one, or it's like the standard when it comes to the most family-friendly, safe, best schools kind of suburb. People are always comparing to Alpharetta. And so this is another reason why it gets so much buzz on YouTube and online. and why so many people make videos and talk about Alpharetta. And so ultimately the big question that we really want to ask here and we really want to answer is Alpharetta worth all of that? Like, do we really need to be so damn extra about Alpharetta and about how awesome it is and how great it is? And we talk about it twice as much as some of the other suburbs of Atlanta. Is Alpharetta really that safe? Is it really like the best schools in all of Georgia? Well, let's talk about that. So yes, Alpharetta is a very safe area, but there are many suburbs of Atlanta that are equally as safe. Johns Creek, Marietta, Suwanee, many parts in Gwinnett County and in Cobb County, Fayette County. Very often you can find similar crime levels or crime stats or whatever. And so while Alpharetta is very low on these crime levels, many suburbs of Metro Atlanta are similarly low. And so every one of these cities has some kind of like petty crime or whatever. You can find this in Alpharetta. It's not like Alpharetta has absolutely no crime. Of course, there's some kind of crime in Alpharetta. Like any suburb, any city is going to have some crime. Or another thing that we might hear people talk about is like, it's like the best public schools in the South are in Alpharetta. Well, the truth is the schools are really good in Alpharetta, but like they're the top 10% in Georgia. It's not like they are the top 1% in all of the South. There are other suburbs that have equally good schools in Metro Atlanta. East Cobb, many cities in Gwinnett County, they all have very good 10 out of 10 schools, just like Alpharetta. Or another one that we say is like, it's walkable. You know, we talk about downtown Alpharetta and the Avalon, and we put those two together, you know, and it's like, oh, these areas are so walkable. Well, the reason why we put them together is because they're almost right next to each other on the map. Like they're literally very close to each other. I would guess like less than half a mile from the Avalon to downtown Alpharetta, and you can literally walk from downtown Alpharetta to the Avalon. There's a trail. And so very often when we talk about the walkability of Alpharetta, that's why we put these two together, because they're so close. But the truth is that outside of these areas, outside of downtown Alpharetta and outside of the Avalon, it's a suburban area where you're going to be car dependent. And so you can find that walkability there in the center of Alpharetta, but outside of there, not quite as walkable. Or another one that we say is that like Alpharetta is every family's dream city. You know, we talk about how it's like the best city, the best vibe. Well, the truth is, I would say it really depends on what you're looking for. Like if you're looking for a home that's not in an HOA, that's going to be difficult to find in Alpharetta. Or if you're looking for an older home, maybe mid-century, modern, you know, ranch style home on a basement, good luck trying to find that in Alpharetta. Alpharetta is not really the city that has that kind of home. There's more newer construction in Alpharetta, but older homes with lots of character and charm is not the kind of house that you would find in Alpharetta. Ultimately, the best way to get a feel for this city, to really understand what it's like, you can watch the video that I made where I went on a walking tour of downtown Alpharetta and the Avalon to see what it's like in person firsthand. I went there and filmed all of these areas and kind of went on a tour of the downtown area. You can check out that video right here. I'll see you in the next one.